It was close to evening, and the golden light of the setting sun poured in through the windows of the small café. The place smelled like fresh coffee and baked pastries, and the gentle hum of conversation mixed with soft music playing in the background. People sat at scattered tables, some working on laptops, others chatting quietly, a few just enjoying their drinks in peace. Behind the counter stood Zara, a 22-year-old barista. Her uniform was clean, her dark hair pulled into a neat bun, and though her eyes carried the weight of a long day, she still greeted every customer with a polite smile. She didn't come from much. Her job mattered. Every shift meant supporting her household, saving a little for law school someday, and proving mostly to herself that she could hold her ground. A man walked up to the counter, mid-30s, confident in a smug kind of way. His eyes scanned her face a little too slowly. She felt it immediately, the shift in tone, the flicker of something inappropriate in his gaze. She braced herself. "Hey there," he said with a grin. "That smile just for me, or do you do that for everyone?" Zara managed the most neutral smile she could. She'd heard worse. She'd handled worse. "What can I get you, sir?" She asked politely. "Espresso. Extra strong," he said, his voice lowering slightly. "Just like you, huh?" She didn't respond, pretending she didn't hear it. She tapped his order into the register, nodded once, and turned to prepare the drink. His eyes stayed on her the entire time. She felt them on her back, like heat, like warning. She placed the espresso on the counter and slid it toward him. "Here you go. Enjoy." He took the cup, but didn't move away immediately. He stood there for a few more seconds, just watching her. Then, with a smirk, he turned and walked to a corner table. Zara exhaled slowly. She shook off the tension and moved on. Another customer approached. A family ordered milkshakes. A teenage girl asked for iced coffee. For a little while, it felt normal again. But he came back, just 15 minutes later. The same man returned to the counter, holding his empty cup. "This espresso wasn't strong enough," he said loudly. "Enough to draw attention. Maybe you should come explain it to me?" "At my table." Zara straightened, keeping her voice professional. "Would you like a replacement, sir?" He leaned closer this time. She could smell the cologne mixed with something stronger, bourbon maybe. The kind of arrogance that came from knowing no one ever tells you no. "Actually," he said, "what I'd really like is your number. Or, do you only smile when someone tips well?" She froze. Her eyes darted around. A couple at a nearby table looked up, uncomfortable, then looked away. A man on his laptop kept typing. Nobody said anything. Her heart began to pound. "Sir, I'm here to serve coffee," she said calmly. "Please let me know if you want anything else." He didn't back off. In fact, he leaned in even closer, lowering his voice in a mock whisper. "Shy now. Girls like you don't get asked nicely twice." Zara stepped back, her throat tightening. She could feel the tremble in her fingers as she gripped the edge of the counter. This wasn't harmless flirting. This wasn't a joke. This was calculated discomfort. She looked toward her manager, standing a few feet away by the espresso machine. Their eyes met for a moment. She hoped, just for once, someone would say something, do something, but he simply shrugged and turned away. Pretending to clean something, Zara realized, once again, she was on her own. She steadied herself. Her voice was quiet, but clear. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to step back. You're making me uncomfortable." He laughed a forced, arrogant laugh. He turned slightly so others could hear him. "Oh, don't be so dramatic. I'm just being friendly." Her patience was wearing thin now. The tight smile on her face vanished. "This isn't friendly," she said. "This is harassment." A silence fell over the immediate area. The word had weight. Even the people trying to mind their own business looked up now. The man's smile faded just slightly. Then he scowled. "You don't know who you're talking to," he said, anger bubbling under the surface. "Please step away from the counter." He stared at her, unsure of whether to escalate or back off. For a moment he looked around. No one was supporting him, but no one was stepping in either. With a scoff, he turned and walked back toward his table but didn't sit. He stood there, watching her, pacing a little. She kept her face forward, kept working, but she felt his gaze burn into her. Her breath grew shallow. She wanted to scream, not because of what he'd said, but because of what everyone else didn't. The silence of the room echoed louder than his words. She wasn't just angry, She felt betrayed, exhausted, shanba, not protected. She thought of the hundreds of other girls like her working behind counters, riding buses, walking home at night, told to smile, to be polite, to ignore, to not make a scene. Why should she be the one to shrink? And just then, the scraping of a chair broke the silence. Someone stood up, not her manager, not one of the silent customers near her, but a man sitting alone. Across the room, now walking steadily toward the counter, and in that one moment, something in the air changed. The chair scraped against the floor, and for a moment, it was the loudest sound in the entire cafe. Everyone looked up. A man stood. Late 20s, tall, clean-cut, calm. He had been sitting alone in the corner, quietly sipping from a chipped mug and working on a laptop. No one had noticed him until now, not even Zara. He walked toward the counter, slow but purposeful. Each step made the air grow thicker. The harasser, still standing by his table, narrowed his eyes. The man stopped, between Zara and the customer, turned slightly, and locked eyes with him. "That's enough," he said. His voice wasn't loud, but it didn't have to be. The words cut through the room like a blade through silence. The customer blinked, surprised. "Excuse me." The man didn't flinch. "You heard me? That's enough. Step away." The customer scoffed, trying to play it off with a crooked smile. "Look, man, this isn't your business. It became my business the moment you started harassing someone just trying to do her job." Zara stood frozen behind the counter, eyes wide. She wasn't sure what was happening. For the first time, someone had spoken, not whispered, not avoided. Spoken. The customer took a step forward, his tone shifting. "You don't know who I am. I don't care who you are." That answer landed like a punch. For a man so used to controlled dominance in conversations, in gestures, in rooms, being told he didn't matter was its own humiliation. A few of the other customers began murmuring quietly. Phones were slowly coming out of pockets now, recording just in case. The man saw this too. His posture changed. The stranger turned to Zara gently. His tone softened, his stance protective but respectful. "Are you okay?" he asked. She nodded, voice caught somewhere between breath and emotion. I think so." He turned back to the customer. "She said you were making her uncomfortable. That should have been the end of it." The customer gave a bitter laugh. "You think you're some kind of hero?" "No," the man said. "I just think people like you don't get told no enough." A pause. The room held its breath. "I'm going to ask you one more time to leave," the man added. The customer looked around. His arrogance faltered. He saw the eyes. He felt the weight of judgment finally settling in. He wasn't the charming guy anymore. He wasn't clever. He wasn't feared. He was just ... wrong. He picked up his jacket, muttered something inaudible, and walked out. The cafe doors swung shut behind him. For a moment, there was stillness. Then someone exhaled loudly. Another whispered, "Thank God." The air felt lighter, as if a storm had passed, and no one had realized how much it had darkened. The room. Zara blinked, still standing where she had been. The man turned to her again. "I hope that was okay," he said gently. "I didn't mean to speak over you." She shook her head. "No, thank you. I didn't expect anyone to say anything." He looked her in the eyes, not staring, not analyzing, just seeing. "You shouldn't have to expect silence," he said. "That's the problem." Her throat tightened. All the fear, frustration, and isolation she had held in 4 hours, or maybe months, rose in her chest. Like a wave she was barely holding back. "I didn't know what to say anymore," she admitted. He just kept pushing, and everyone just watched. The man nodded. "My sister used to work retail," he said. "I saw what she went through, how normal it had become. It shouldn't be." Zara wiped at the corner of her eye quickly, self-conscious. "What's your name?" she asked, her voice soft. "Asan," he said, smiling lightly. "You, Zara. Nice to meet you, Zara. I'm sorry it had to be like this." She gave a weak smile, one filled with more emotion than words could carry. "Me too, but—" "Thank you," he nodded and stepped back. "Do you want me to stay? I can wait here until your shift ends, just in case he comes back." Zara paused. She looked around. The manager was still pretending he hadn't seen anything. Cowardly, she turned back to Asan. "Would you mind?" "Not at all." He returned to his table in the corner, opened his laptop again, but his eyes stayed alert, not intrusive. just present. Over the next hour, something changed in the café. The regulars, those who had looked away earlier, came to Zara quietly. One woman apologized for not speaking up. A young man awkwardly offered to leave a review in her defense, if that helps. Another asked if she wanted him to talk to the manager. Zara realized they had all been afraid, or indifferent, or both, and yet, maybe they'd remember this moment. Maybe they'd do better next time. When her shift ended, she walked out with Asen. The street outside was cooler now, the sun slipping away behind the buildings. "Can I drop you home?" he offered. She hesitated. "That's kind, but I'll be okay. I live close." "All right," he said, "but let me walk with you to the corner." They walked in silence for a minute or two. It wasn't uncomfortable. It was thoughtful. "Do you always step in like that?" she finally asked. "Not always," he admitted, "but I promised myself I would, after what my sister went through. I saw what silence does. It tells people like him that it's okay, and tells people like you that you're alone." "You're a good brother," she said. "I try." Zara stopped at the intersection. Her building was a block away. She turned to him. "I don't know how to thank you. You already did." She looked at him, really looked at him. There was no hero complex in his eyes, no need for credit, just decency. "You changed the story," she said. "It was turning into something I'd carry for years. Now it feels like maybe I can let it go." He nodded slowly. "I hope you never have to carry it again." Zara smiled this time, fully, freely. "If you ever come back to the cafe," she said, "coffee's on me." He laughed. "Only if you sit down and have one too." "Deal." They shook hands. Simple, honest, and parted ways. Toward her home, the weight on her shoulders lighter than it had been in days. The echo of his words stayed with her. You shouldn't have to expect silence. That's the problem. And for the first time in a long while, she believed the world might still have people who would speak when it mattered most.